Of a problem here that everywhere he goes, Harvey insists on being treated and called Mr. President because it has gotten to his head. Even here, when it is clear that this is your house and your rules, he wants to impose on you his authority. Now, I want to respond to two things and start with the issue of violence. It is quite absurd for Harvey to talk about violence. When we were elected to the LSK in 2016-2018, the Okero Council that haunts Harvey to date, it's called the Oko LSK Council. We held almost 2 general meetings and maybe 1 special general meeting, and they're all peaceful. And there was only one reason, because the president of the LSK, then Okero, came in on a platform of giving back the voices of the members, especially as expressed during an AGM. Now, my brother has talked about the rules and the regulations governing meetings and powers. In fact, I have those rules and regulations in front of me. I will start and I will demonstrate where the problem is. Number one, let us talk about how decisions in council are taken. If you look at regulation number 20 of the Law Society regulations, it says that a question arising during a meeting upon which a decision is required shall be decided by a majority votes of the council present and voting. And then it says in sub-regulation 3 that it shall be decided by a vote of members present and voting by a show of hands. Now, Harvey went to the same law school as me, I believe. And we were taught that you should read the law as is and not how you think it ought to be. The law is clear that in making decisions at the council, you take a vote and the majority will have its way. On the decision, for instance, to so-called expel or suspend or dismiss the CEO, Mercy Wambua, it is very clear and it is in writing that Harvey was in the minority. If 8 members of the council have voted on something, you proceed in that manner. And then, when it comes to general meetings, because he has touched on the issue of general meetings, we have also regulations guiding how decision-making is to be undertaken at general meetings. First of all, we have the rules of debate, which he has referred to, and he claims, because you know Harvey thinks he's bigger than everyone else. Even when the law says that the supreme organ of the society is the general meeting, Harvey believes in his head that he's above the general meeting. You've heard him say that it is his prerogative to determine whatever it is happens at the general meeting. I want you to refer to rule number 82, that it requires that every issue on which a decision is required shall be decided in the first instance by a show of hands, when every member present in person shall be entitled to 1 vote. On the floor of the general meeting, we are all the same. I want to show you this notice that they send out for the SGM. This notice says very clearly that the meeting shall take place physically at Gitanga Road and then via Zoom platform, which means that every person who logged in is taken to have been physically present at that meeting and they had 1 vote. Then it goes on to say that unless a poll is directed by the president or demanded by at least 3 members, that is after the show of hands, all it takes, Maura, for a poll to be held at a general meeting is to be demanded by 3 members. He claims that there was 5 people who came to disrupt. In fact, everything we were saying, no, create a poll. Yesterday, I was assaulted. I was assaulted by people known to him. In fact, on the floor of the general meeting itself, he congratulated the people for doing a good job. He went further to tweet on his official Twitter handle that I was mishandled by what he called Jeshi ya Serikali. That is Harvey for you. So when he sits here and talks about violence, I'm wondering, who is he talking about? And because I am not a shrill crybaby, you will not see me going to the DCI to report that I was assaulted, because I know the rough and tumble of politics. So I personally would want a situation where we follow the regulations. Harvey wants to impose his will on council, he wants to impose his will on the membership, and yet the law is very clear that the membership at the general meeting is a supreme organ.
And your concern was that, one, those who...
Special resolutions that require a special number of people to vote for it. For instance, the resolution to remove somebody as a council member under Section 22 of the Law Society of Kenya Act requires, just a minute, Maura, you said you'll give us time, requires 2/3 majority. So if there are 3,000 people logged online on the platform, and he claims there were 400, but maybe there were 200 people at Gitanga Road, what is the number that you require, and how do you establish that that number has been reached? You require a poll. This is basic democracy, basic of democracy, yani democracy 101. If you cannot capture this and implement them, you are not a democrat, you are not somebody who can stand up in any platform and criticize people for not adhering to the rule of law or claiming that you're a democrat yourself.
Okay. It's not synonymous
just
to
one
madness.
word only, please don't heckle me, Harvey. You have refused to discuss the law, wait for the politics where I can heckle as much as you can. I want to address the issue of the so-called suspension. Now, I have in front of me the motion that was filed. It was signed by around, I think there are 12 members. But for purposes of this debate, we can just call it the motion by Mbithi and Aoko Otieno. They have signed the motion. This motion, among other things, it sought about 9 resolutions. Now, the critical resolution here is resolution number 5, which sought to suspend the 8 council members, which are the majority, for the remainder of their term for deliberately going against established protocol in the running of a society. First of all, from a legal perspective, there is a problem with this motion because a motion to suspend a member of the council can only originate from council. That is in the law, which my brother doesn't want to discuss. You make a recommendation as council, then you bring it before the membership for them to make that decision. This motion came from members, which of course brings already problems. Number 2, there is a member of the society who complained that she had tried to log into the online system and had been unable to. So she literally ran to the society. She's called Roslyn Boshe. She moved an amendment to this motion that instead of only these 8, because of the disgraceful conduct by Harvey and his vice president and all the members of the society, that in fact all of them be sent packing. That motion is what this president put to a vote. And the videos are there. The witnesses are there. As it is right now, we are looking at a former president of the Law Society of Kenya, by operation of his the same knife that he brought to slaughter people, was used to slaughter him yesterday, and his council. So as we speak right now, there is no council of the Law Society of Kenya. And if he is telling you that the matters ended yesterday at the AGM, I can guarantee you, Mwaura, that there are lawyers who want to redeem the image of this society. This is not the last you're going to hear of this matter. Many of us who fought during the Okoa LSK were fighting because we wanted to give back power to the membership of this society.
Okay.
So we will be seeing you, Harvey, in court. With it is quite unfortunate.
I want you to address him with respect.
Even Kibaki is called the former president, he doesn't complain that it is disrespectful. If your term has been expired by operation of law, so just a minute, I want to speak uninterrupted the way that he spoke. First, let me say, he's my senior in law. It is very, very shameful for him to sit on a national TV station and attack a judge who is unnamed the way that he's doing. He knows as a lawyer that in fact if you have a problem with a judge, because he has said that somehow Okoa LSK has domesticated a judge, he can always apply for recusal. There are so many judges in the High Court. He can find people that he thinks are going to give him a fair hearing. Number 2, Harvey forgets that in a democratic process, once you win the election, you cannot come there and lord over us about how many numbers you have. You have to be president for everyone, Harvey. This is basic democracy. I think I will refer you to a class in democracy. You represent everyone. It is not you will not keep throwing as a number at you. Even the 10 people who did not vote for you, Harvey, have a right to be heard by the president of the Law Society of Kenya. Those council members that you disregard, their combined vote, Harvey, was more than the votes that you received. They also represent people. They were also elected by people. If you want to be a leader, and especially a leader of a professional organization, you must be open to other ideas. I want you to succeed because you are my brother. You are my senior-in-law. At one time in the AGM, you lied that I was your pupil. In fact, I was your boss, Harvey, because you are acting, but these matters have to be debated. He's talking about a decision rendered by 395 people in a tent. In fact, those numbers are disputed. There were no more than 200 people in that tent because of COVID regulations. Number 2, Harvey will have to demonstrate that he got 2/3 majority, because that is the law, and the only way to get 2/3 majority, or to show that in fact 2/3 of the people present and voting, including the ones on the portal, was for you to take to the judge resolutions supported by numbers.
Edwin,
so
may I also educate you on some? No,
Please don't heckle.
I'm
Because
trying
you-
to school you
as a
the
former
law.
We need
president,
order.
surely,
We need
you
order
should
in
not heckle.
studio.
One thing only.
One thing then, so that I can allow him to speak, please.
Harvey did not put anything of the motions as required by law to a vote that included the people who were online. So he knows there's going to be a lot of difficulty. He knows it's a difficult conversation to have, and that is why he's running away. Supposed to be guiding government, the judiciary, on upholding the rule of law, on constitutionalism. We must practice what we preach. It must start with us. If we are not able as a society to just respect simple regulations, when will we ever have the moral authority to stand and tell people that you have broken the law here? I have heard Harvey talking about disobedience of court orders. He's coming here to lecture us about Nairobi and how things were not done properly. And yet he himself is unable to see the speck in his eye, the log in his eye, in fact. So what we are saying is it is sad because this is one of the institutions that Kenyans have traditionally looked up to to provide leadership and benefit to the public. Unlike Harvey, who just a few minutes ago was telling us that, this debate does not benefit members of the public and we should leave it alone. This discussion is important for people to understand what is going on because we are public property. I went to school, I was educated throughout using public resources. I went to public schools. Now, I want to take you back to one thing, then I will answer your question.
Briefly, because we
on
are
the
now,
roll,
we've now
yes,
moved on.
yes. Maura, I wish you gave me the same latitude that you're giving the former president. Section 4 of the Law Society of Kenya Act, which sets out the objects of a society. And here is the law. It says two important functions of the Law Society is to assist the government and the courts in matters relating to legislation, administration of justice, and the practice of law in Kenya.
To assist the government.
Yes. Number B, uphold the Constitution of Kenya and advance the rule of law and administration of justice. If we ourselves can get stuck at point B, we have no business advising anybody, including the government, about Constitution of Kenya, advance of the rule of law, and administration of justice. The final one is to protect and assist the members of the public in Kenya in matters relating to or ancillary or incidental to the law. So we have a responsibility and duty to the public that Harvey was trying to run away from. Now, to these matters that he is raising here.
And I do want to get your interpretation of the handing over of instruments.
Personally, I would like to hear from Harvey what responsibility he assigns to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga in the handing over of instruments. Personally, as a lawyer, and as a former member of the Council of the Law Society of Kenya, I understand that interpretation of the law is something that people will never agree on. You have seen here, Harvey will read the law the way he wants, I will read the law the way I understand it. Some lawyers like him will run away from the law, literally. The truth of the matter is that, number one, Mrs. Kananu was appointed by an elected governor. The problem I have with Sonko, and many people do, is that he never took his job seriously. All the time when he was sending these letters to the assembly, he actually was doing it as a joke. He never thought...
Okay, he's not here to respond to that.
You have asked me a question. I will explain.
I will ask you to tread carefully.
I will explain, Maura. You remember there was a time he proposed Miguna. You know that. He proposed some other names, and in fact, at some point, he put a Facebook poll which Harvey couldn't create for the election, to ask people to nominate a deputy, which is his job as a governor.
I'm hoping now, you'll eventually tell us what your interpretation is.
Please give me some leeway, Maura. What we know is that once this name was submitted to the IEBC, the returning officer cleared Anne Mwenda essentially for vetting as deputy governor. At that particular position and point in time, the nominator has become functus officio. You cannot wake up one day and say, I withdraw it after the IEBC. Like today I was in Matungu. Our candidate has been cleared by the IEBC. Can I rise today and say that I have withdrawn that candidate? Now, we must also not run away from the fact that, in fact, the only thing that was stopping Anne Kananu from being vetted as a governor was actually an order of the court. So let us not pretend. I agree with Harvey when he says that, in fact, from a legal standpoint, it presupposes that there are two vacancies in the office of the governor and the deputy by the time you are swearing in the president, the speaker to act. But the question then becomes, are we also aware of the reason why they had not vetted the deputy governor? As we speak here today, Harvey, there was no single court order to stop the assembly either from impeaching Sonko, either the Senate from impeaching Sonko, either the Assembly from vetting Kananu, either the Assembly from actually approving Kananu. So what has happened, Maura, we might see things from a different perspective. I have a lot of respect for the Kenyan courts. We know that these matters are before the judges in the courts. Harvey has filed another case that has essentially stopped the swearing in of Kananu as a substantive governor. And I must make it clear, it is Harvey's case, because the Law Society has no resolution to that effect. So we will see. We will give opportunity for the courts to look at all. Speaker is being sworn as an acting governor. It presupposes in law that there are 2 vacancies, both in the office of the governor and in the office of the deputy governor. I have also told you that we cannot run away from the fact that there was a valid nomination of deputy governor and that in fact it was stopped by a court order. When I talk about the absence of court orders, I am referring to the fact that some of these issues had actually been already ventilated before a court of competent jurisdiction. We must allow the absurdities that we cannot resolve at a personal level because of the differences between his understanding of the law and mine, to be resolved by the institution that we have created as Kenyans to resolve these questions. So I know for a fact, and Harvey should not even be talking about this matter, because he is the petitioner in the case that has been filed in court challenging this matter. So he knows that as a legal principle, we should not essentially be sitting here to discuss the merits. I have just given you my point of view. I am ready to cede my understanding of the law to a higher organ, which is the courts that have the competent jurisdiction to determine this matter. And by the way, Maura, nobody is afraid of a by-election in Nairobi. It is a fallacy that has been thrown around in certain circles. You have seen the president here repeat them, and I know that he represents certain factions in the political space in this country. I can tell you for a fact, Maura, that nobody is afraid of a by-election in Nairobi. If the courts decide that in fact we are going to have a by-election in Nairobi, we will be there to participate in that election. So nobody should sell the narrative that somehow we are afraid. We are not afraid of anything. Because Harvey does not like to look in the mirror for the source of a problem. He's also refusing, even in this particular case, to look at the actual source of a problem. We also, it was actually live on TV, Harvey, when Sonko went to State House and signed over the functions of government.
But Sonko said he was not,
just a minute.
He was not sober.
Just don't heckle, surely.
Go ahead.
I need your protection from this heckler, because we will not have a debate.
We have put social and all other distancing required. Go ahead.
Now, the problem is, we have 47 county governors. How come no other governor has decided that he's going to State House to sign over the functions? Personally, I have a lot of respect for Mike Sonko for one reason, because he was able to get way more votes than I personally received when I ran for Senate in Nairobi. It means he has been a certain capacity to convince people to vote for him. But we should not run away from his own shortcomings. He signed over the functions himself in broad daylight. He has come out later to claim that he was drunk. I mean, who makes such an admission, Harvey? In fact, when you advise some of your clients, you should tell them to stay away from the media if they're going to say things like those. Number two, please don't heckle. Please, let me finish my point. You'll have opportunity to speak. Okay. This budget, the one that was signed over by Speaker Mutura, was actually passed by the Assembly of Nairobi. Now, I want to remind you, Harvey, just the way I told you about your council, that these MCAs who are sitting in the County Assembly of Nairobi, the 85 of them from the 85 wards in Nairobi, were also elected. They are also representatives of the people. Because you see, the problem with you is just look at the head and you think that he's the alpha and omega. If the assembly has been able to give its input on a bill and passed it, and that the remaining thing is a ceremonial role by the chief executive to just append his signature, the way you like to lecture the president about the appointment of judges, which is a ceremonial role, then really you cannot come and claim that the whole process is illegal because the person who signed over the money was an acting governor. I mean, the NMS is legally founded because they taught us the sections of the Constitution. I didn't even know that section existed. And then they say, no, everything is legal. We saw also Sonko signing. He has participated in the creation of that appropriation bill. It has been passed by representatives of the people in the assembly, 85 of them. And then you want to come and claim it's illegal because it was signed by somebody in acting capacity? That's ridiculous. ODM is a very proud party. We are proud of the fact that we are the ones who birthed this thing called devolution. From the period when we started implementing this new constitution, we have seen clear attempts to sabotage devolution at all levels. We have seen devolution of functions without money. We have seen the delays that we experience in disbursement of money. We have seen various attempts to actually interfere with devolution. We stand for the rule of law. We are saying that if you lay your bed you must sleep in it, Maura. Sonko laid this bed. And you can see that he is the only governor out of the 47 who has done this. It's not as if the people who want to sabotage devolution only have interest in Nairobi. The other counties they have interest in. But the people they elected in Nairobi, you have to juxtapose the governor of Nairobi against the other governors and ask yourself, why only Sonko? Then there you will find the real reason why we're in this quagmire. He would insert his name in all those things that he's saying. Harvey, please, I will keep reminding you. You must see the log in your own eye. Number two, I don't know about the other leaders that he has talked about, including his uncle, but I can speak authoritatively for Raila Odinga. Because Raila Odinga, through his party ODM, has spoken on this issue. We are the only party, Harvey, in case you did not have time to listen to us. Because you are blindly opposed to the process of the BBI, so that even the views that are coming, you don't have time to actually listen to them. Maura, when the ODM party appeared before the BBI committee at KICC, I was present as the Secretary General. I was there with my party chairman. The treasurer was there. High-ranking officials of the party. We are the only political party that proposed a mechanism to resolve the stalemate. Because Harvey thinks that if he throws a tantrum at the LSK or threats at the president, he will achieve swearing in of the judges. We looked at this particular issue and we said, we understand the history of this matter. Number one, Kenyans wanted to move away from the old days where the presidency and the executive had some control in appointment of judges. So they proposed the Judicial Service Commission to come there. And sometimes we ask the people who are at Bomas, what is the reason that you retained this one point of a ceremonial role for the president to appoint? And the best explanation I've gotten is that it was just deference to his authority. So ODM proposed a self-executing mechanism similar to what we see with bills in parliament, that in the event that a bill is passed by the House and it is sent to the president for signature and that he doesn't assent to it after a certain period, say 14 days, it automatically executes itself. We propose that amendment to the Constitution in the BBI, so that it is the biggest demonstration, Maura, that in fact when we go into discussions of the BBI, we are solving actual problems. And we wish the people who are opposed to this process would actually open their ears to listen to the proposals we are making. We cannot sit here to talk about independence of the judiciary when we are here attacking judges saying they have been pocketed by Okoa, LSK and the others. We must be at the forefront as lawyers, as members of the bar, as former members of the council like myself and Harvey, to demonstrate faith in the institution of the judiciary. And this cannot happen if every time we come to platforms such as this, we are castigating judges and throwing aspersions. So we believe that we have proposed a way out of this. And I know this out of my own knowledge, Harvey, because I was there when we made that proposal as ODM. You have tried to run away from documents here, but if you are willing, I will send you the document that was presented by ODM to the BBI committee, including that proposal on the self-executing.
Ask the question.
No, please.
Sifuna,
let me respond to what he has raised here.
Okay.
I will come to your question. Nobody is interested in a love affair with him. We don't have to be friends, Harvey. We are saying you can clean the stables and you will find many people to
Mwalimu Kokonya taught you English and
Please
literature.
don't heckle. Please don't
You need to
heckle
understand
me.
where
I listened
examples
quietly.
are given and satire
Maura,
is
please
applied.
Protect me from the former president.
he has stopped.
Please.
Go ahead.
When you want to clean the stables, Harvey, you will find a lot of support if you clean the stables within the law. Follow the law. Follow what the Constitution say. Follow what the constituting documents of your own organization say. If it says that you take a vote at a meeting, you take a vote. If you say, by the way, Harvey, you will be very surprised that in fact, probably you had more people supporting you than were against you.
I know.
But you never allowed a vote to take place. That's what I'm saying.
The leader weighs the mood.
Please, Harvey, don't heckle me for the 100th time.
But you keep on calling me. What do you want to do? Don't call my name.
Saying, because we are here with you.
Okay,
and
Baba.
I consider you my
Okay,
brother.
fine. Go on.
I am saying that the language you are speaking is the language of a dictator. There is no difference between you and what Museveni says. Museveni could have very well won this election if he had followed the rules and the law. But we will support cleaning of the stables. All of us want cleaning of the stables. The language where people say that I know best, that I can ignore the rules, that it will be painful, but that I am the one who knows best is the language of a dictator, which is why I christened him Museveni and Mobutu.
Okay,
number two,
leaders here on the program.
Maura, please don't be inviting me here if you will not allow me to make
No,
the
but I
points.
must control this this
Number
program.
two, on the two-thirds
That's why
gender,
you come on, because there is
on
control.
the two-thirds gender rule, on the two-thirds gender rule, it is not enough for you to criticize other people's proposals. As I have read to you here, the mandate of the Law Society is to also protect and assist members of the public in Kenya in matters relating to the law. We have a responsibility as a society to propose solutions to our problems. When you ask why his Tea Party failed, it is because he has no support. He cannot occupy parliament by himself. When he says a river will go to parliament, which river? Even Isiolo itself in Kakamega, which you know, me and you know very well. Harvey, your river is all the size of Isiolo. So even if you threaten here that you will occupy parliament, we all know that we will set a trap of tea and mandazi there and the thing will be dead. Number three, so look at us as ODM. What have we done? Maura, this issue of the two-thirds gender rule is not unique to Kenya. We have seen other jurisdictions, and we can always learn from other people what they have done. As ODM, we had proposed a proportionate representation system where we don't vote directly for somebody as a candidate. For instance, in the 17 constituencies in Nairobi, you give a list of 17 people who will be elected as members for as long as your party gets 100% of the vote. And that list acquires the so-called zebra nature, where you have a man first or a woman first and then followed by a man in the alternate gender like that until you get to number 17. Then you go to the polls and you have Harvey's UDA and my ODM going to the polls and he gets 10% of the vote in Nairobi, I have 90%. It means I take 90% of the seats. Once parliament is constituted, it finds itself gender balanced. So that proposal is in the document that ODM gave. We have given proposals. That proposal, we were not able to convince everyone that is what works for us. But we got halfway because we were able to receive views from other people and they said, what we can have is a mixed member proportionate representation. And we believe if we pass the BBI as is, we will be able to hit the gender rule because we are about providing solutions. Don't just make noise so that you get an opportunity to be invited for tea.
You never responded to Steve Ogola's question.
I can come to his question. As I told you, in matters of legal interpretation, especially in this very unique circumstance of Nairobi, I want to agree that there are differences of interpretation. Steve Ogola is a lawyer that I respect. He must also respect the way that I am reading the law.
Do you have a concern with that? No, I'm picking up. I'm not countering what you're saying, Bwana Sifuna. I'm asking whether it concerns you, these differences of interpretation.
No, it doesn't concern me because we have freedom of conscience and thought. I cannot come into your head to influence your point of view or how you perceive things. So this is why we are unique human beings. We are individuals.
Where does the buck stop?
That's why I'm saying, that's what I'm coming to, if you will let me. I am telling you that all our interpretations will now find a place where they are adjudicated upon, and we as Kenyans have given that authority to the institution of the judiciary. These matters are before the court. Once the court gives us a proper interpretation, that will become the law and the legal position will be unified. You will not hear us, casting aspersions on judges the way we have had here. We will take the decision of the High Court because it is the body mandated to interpret constitutional provisions. With Harvey, that if you look at the history of this country in the recent past, even going back to, say, 10 years back, it is true that adherence to the rule of law is at its lowest. Because even in the first time, he talks about court orders right now. We as ODM have been protesting disobedience of court orders from the start. There's a case that we did with Harvey, of our friend Miguna, where I think we obtained almost 13 court orders. And all of them, were they 13 or 15? All of them were disobeyed. So I would rank the rule of law to be extremely low. And sadly, I will start at my own society as a Law Society of Kenya, that we do not respect the law. Our former president does not respect the rules. He is a god unto himself. He is a dictator. It is his way or the highway. Number two, on the question of whether there will be a by-election, I will repeat again. That is not for me sitting here to say. This matter is before the court. The manner or the question of propriety of impeachment of Sonko, the assumption of office of Anne Kananu, all those matters are before the court. And because I am a lawyer, I want to extend the respect and uphold the dignity of our courts to be able to resolve these questions in a manner that will leave everybody satisfied.